So Mameji, are you here with us? Alright, so we can start anyway. Hello everybody.
Hello, Venerable Sir.
Thank you.
Hello, Honorable Sir.
Aumau. I didn't hear Aumau.
Hello, Venerable Sir.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. So let's start with meditation right away. We can sit in a comfortable meditation posture. I think Melanie needs to adjust her camera a little, tilt a little up. Yes. Yeah, Caitlin, maybe Caitlin, what about if you put your device on the bed? And then it should work. Perfect. Yeah, can you move a little backward? Yes. Yes, this is perfect. Okay. Melanie, I would like to ask Melanie next time to use some kind of you call that pants or trousers, whatever, you know, so that I can see better your posture like this. I don't know anything. But anyway, just make sure that you're sitting like Caitlin or like Aomao. Yeah, Langhom also is sitting well. And as we are sitting in a comfortable meditation posture with the back erect, side cast down, let's make the first determination in our minds voicelessly. From now on for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. And with that determination, we can gently, lovingly notice the flat piece of flesh at the top of the head. Let's allow it to be heavy. And changing. We continue to the forehead, eyes, nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the head to be heavy and changing. We continue to the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, fingers, tips of fingers, chest, abdomen, back, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the upper part of the body to be heavy and changing. We continue to the buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, heels, soles, toes, tips of toes, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the body to be heavy and changing. Now, as we have given the freedom to the body to be the way it is, we can enjoy the freedom from worry about the body. Now we can observe the relationship between the mind and the peace that we have just achieved. Is the mind with the peace? What is the relationship? Is it strong? Is it weak? So we observe the relationship between the mind and the peace that we have achieved. now, when we have developed our peace, we can share it with other living beings. We can start in our role. We don't force, we don't expect, we just allow. We permit all beings in the room to enjoy at least as much peace as we are enjoying ourselves now. May all beings in this room be in peace. May all beings in this room be in peace. And we can gradually expand our loving kindness. May all beings in this building be in peace. May all beings in this city or village be in peace. May all beings on this continent be in peace. Make sure your back is erect. May all beings on this planet be in peace. May all beings in the whole world be in peace. May all beings, including me, be in peace. Make sure your back is erect. Now, because the time for this sitting is finished, let's make the last determination in our minds voicelessly. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. And with that determination, we can slowly, mindfully change the way of our sitting. And when we have changed the way of our sitting, let's take one more minute to enjoy the peace we gained in meditation. If you meditate 15 minutes or more, I suggest that before you return to the camera or do anything else, you take 1 minute or 2 minutes right after the meditation in your secondary posture to enjoy the peace you gained in meditation and allow your body to rejuvenate, to regenerate, and gradually gain strength to do whatever you want to do. So today I hear some noise from Melanie's place. Is everything okay? Melanie, are you close by? Yes. During meditation, you were unmuted, Melanie. So we could hear there was something going on. Mameji, are you here with us? Mameji has some technical problem. Alright, so today let's do the Burmese pronunciation. So I would like to ask everyone to unmute. Yes. You can keep your hands together at the chest. And we can start. Remember, this is Burmese pronunciation, so it's a little confusing and difficult. Try to follow my pronunciation. Yamaha wada metam wadeta.
Mapante.
Aham bhante.
Aham bante.
Titaranena.
Titaranena.
Taha.
Taha.
Piensatilan.
Piensatilan.
Dhamman yasami.
Dhamayasami.
Anogahan katawa.
Katawa.
Tilan deta.
Tilandeta.
Me bhante.
Me bhante.
Anukampan upadaya.
Anukampan ubadaya.
Dutiyampi aham bhante.
Dutiyampi aham bhante.
Titaranena taha.
Titaranena taha.
Piensatilan dhamman yasami.
Piensatilan dhamayasami.
Anogahan katawa.
Anogahan katawa.
Tilan deta me bhante.
Tilandeta me bhante.
Anukampan upadaya.
Anukampan ubadaya.
Tatiyampi aham bhante.
Tatiyampi aham bhante.
Titaranena taha.
Titaranena taha.
Piensatilan dhamman yasami.
Piensatilan dhamayasami.
Anogahan katawa.
Anogahan katawa.
Tilan deta me bhante.
Dilande Chame Bante
Anukampang Upadaya.
Anugampang Ubadaya
Badaya.
Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Tamma Tambuddhata.
Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Tamma Sambuddhassa.
Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Tamma Tambuddhata.
Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Tamma Sambuddhassa.
Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Tamma Tambuddhata.
Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Tamma Sambuddhassa.
Bodhantaranang Gishami.
Bodhantaranang Gissami.
Dhammantaranang Gishami.
Dhammantaranang Gissami.
Tanghantaranang Gishami.
Dhammantaranang Gissami.
Dutiyampi Bodhantaranang Gishami.
Dutiyampi Bodhantaranang Gissami.
Dutiyampi Dhammantaranang Gishami.
Dutiyampi Dhammantaranang Gissami.
Dutiyampi Tanghantaranang Gishami.
Dutiyampi Bodhantaranang Gissami.
Tatiyampi Bodhantaranang Gishami.
Tatiyampi Bodhantaranang Gissami.
Tatiyampi Dhammantaranang Gishami.
Tatiyampi Bodhantaranang Gissami.
Tatiyampi Tanghantaranang Gishami.
Tatiyampi Bodhantaranang Gissami.
Taranagamanam Paripona.
Amma Bante.
So the first precept means I follow the precept of refraining from killing living beings. Panati pata veramani teikha padantamadhyami.
Panati
The second precept means I follow the rule of refraining from taking what is not given. It means we never steal. Adena dana veramani teikha padantamadhyami.
Adena dana viramani.
The third precept means I follow the rule of refraining from sexual misconduct. That means we never cheat on our husband or wife if we have one. Kame tu me sara.
Kame tu me sara.
Veramani teikha padantamadhyami. The fourth precept means I follow the rule of refraining from false speech. It means we never tell lies. Muta vada veramani teikha padantamadhyami. The last precept means I follow the precept of refraining from drinking alcohol and taking drugs. Dura me raya misa. Pamadatthana veramani teikha padantamadhyami.
Pamadatthana viramani padantamadhyami.
So now I will encourage you to follow and protect the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts and to make effort mindfully. Titranena tadhem pien satilan dhamman tadukam turakhitan katawa apamadena tampadetha.
Amma Bante.
May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana. Okay, so let's move on to notes from the book The Teenage Brain. So for today, you were reading chapter 8, is that right?
We were reading chapter 9, I think.
9. Okay. Mao, do you agree? Mao, do you agree that we're reading chapter 9?
Yes, Venerable Sir.
Yes, thank you. So let's start with Paris. Can you please read for us your notes from chapter 9?
Studies show that smoking pot can lead to the use of harder drugs and even can stunt one's intellect.
And even can?
Stunt one's intellect.
Stunt one's intellect, yes, thank you. Florence? Florence is muted, so you may like to unmute yourself.
I'm looking for it.
Yes, I'm listening. So, Florence, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm looking for your notes.
You're searching for your notes, okay. So, Melanie, can you please read for us your note?
In their early teens, smoking adolescents have been shown to have smaller whole brain volume, reduced gray matter, and increased damage to white matter compared with non-users.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, this is an important point. Amal?
The neurotransmitter anandamide is found throughout the brain and especially in areas involved in regulating food, memory, appetite, pain, cognition, and emotion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Langhong?
Pot is known by many experts as a gateway drug leading to the use of more dangerous illicit substances.
Thank you. Langhong, do I remember correctly that you were previously coming with your brother? Was he your brother? And does he plan to join us sometime again?
I don't know. He doesn't answer me
Okay, then no problem. So, Paris and Florence are gone. So I think I missed Melanie or Caitlin, right? So I missed Caitlin. So yes, Caitlin.
Smoking marijuana can ruins people's life no matter if they stop smoking it or not.
Thank you. Yeah, I see in the chat box that the Singaporeans had to leave. All right. So as for my note, I have a lot. One interesting point: anxiety is usually decreased by marijuana, but sometimes marijuana can increase it instead, and can also cause depression and paranoia. All right, so this was our note. So I would like to encourage you all to read chapter 10, but instead, next time we will have Christmas holidays, not Christmas exactly, it will be one day before Christmas, right? You will have actually 2 days before Christmas. So my idea was that this time for Christmas, I have created a picture with bodhi leaves, and I would like to okay, it's a little complicated. So you would not be reading the book for the next week because I think it's a great opportunity to do something very special. And I would like you to memorize 2 or 4 lines of a poem. And it's a specific poem. The poem has 5,300 lines. You would be memorizing only 4 or 2, depends on you. So now the point is which lines, because you can imagine it's quite a lot of lines. This poem is a world famous poem about the Buddha. It is called The Light of Asia. So I will share with you the link to that poem. It's a very old poem, and it may be extremely difficult for you to read it because it's very old. It might be about 100 or more years old. Let me see. Well, they say release date 2005, but of course that's the electronic version. The original version, let me see if I can find that. Yes, from 1879. So it's about 150 years old. 150 years, exactly 153 years old. No, 143 years, right? So 143 years old poem. But it is wonderful, it is amazing, and many people like it and love it so much. This is one of the poems that opened the door to Buddhism in the West. So it's a very important historical poem written by a British gentleman, or British, gentleman, about the Buddha and about Buddhism, especially about the Buddha. So I would like to introduce this poem to you, and I think the best way to do that is if I ask you to memorize 2 lines out of it. Again, the poem has 5,300 lines, so memorizing 2 lines or 4 lines is not much, but it is totally enough for you to remember that there is a poem about the Buddha for a long time, and that is my aim. So I have already shared with you the link. The poem is for free to distribute. You can share it with anyone you want. You don't need to buy it. As you can see, you have direct access to that. And so I am wondering whether I would assign the start of this poem to the preteens. That's preteens means those who are not teenagers yet. They're still younger than teenagers, so 6 to 10 classes. And for you, I have selected not the start, but somewhere close to the end. And you will, not close to the end, it's like the second third, or the start of the third third. and it starts by the words "but when the fourth watch." So if you use Windows, you would press Ctrl F and then you would type up "but when the first watch." If you use Mac, you would use Command F and then type this up to find it in the website. So I would like you everyone to do that right now. If you have done it, please raise your Zoom hand.
How do I do it on mobile?
On mobile, you will need to, you will probably have there an option to search within a website. What is the app you use to see the website?
Safari.
You use Safari. So let me see how to search. It says, Google says that you need to tap on the address bar and then enter the text that you search for. So you can try it out and see what will happen. I can try it too. Yes, if you do search, then in the search, yes. So in the search, let me see if I can make it visible. Not very successful, but you can see that there are sections. You know, if you go to the if you go to the search bar, you know, the search box at the top where you type up the page, then you just tap one time and type there whatever you want to type. I typed blue, and then you will get sections. These sections are separated by these gray lines, so you have to move to the last section and there will be section on this page, and then you click on that. So try that out. And Melanie?
Venerable Sir, what did you ask of us to do?
Yes, I wish that you find a certain text in the poem, and that text is fourth watch. So you can search the number fourth, but that probably will not take you there where I want. So you need to search the text fourth watch, Fourth space WATCH. So that's what you need to search in that website where you have the poem.
Where do I do it? Or how
Yes.
do I do it?
Did you already open the website that I have advertised in the chat box?
Yes.
Try it out. You've got it. What is the device? What kind of device are you using?
I'm using a Dell computer, but I think it works like a window.
Okay, so you're using Windows. Then you can press on your keyboard Ctrl F when you're in the browser. And then you can type there fourth watch.
I typed in "but when the fourth watch," since you put that in the chat.
Whatever, the result will be probably the same. And then when you type it up, it should automatically jump to the place where this is written. Have you got it? Nice. So everybody can remove your Zoom hand, but please stay in the place in the browser. And so you probably see there the text, but when the fourth watch came, the secret came. And this is the time, this is the moment when the Prince Siddhartha, now the great ascetic Gautama, has become a Buddha. Not exactly at this moment, but this is a kind of, either it's an error or something is wrong with the, no, actually this one is right. There is a little weird thing because it's written fourth watch. Actually, fourth watch does not exist. Night has only 3 watches. The first watch, second watch, and the third watch. Fourth watch does not exist. And if you scroll a little above, you will see that there is mentioned the second watch. You know, in the previous stanza, in the previous section of the poem, you will see, and in the middle watch. And middle watch means the second watch. Actually, if you move even earlier, you will see in the third watch. Probably in the third watch, he wanted to say in the first watch. Then instead of, and then middle is right, and then fourth should not be fourth. It is actually the third watch. Anyway, according to our scriptures, it is the third watch. That what he describes as the fourth watch. So, how did this mistake get there? I don't know. Did he write it like this? I don't know. But, of course, you should not learn mistakes. And when you learn this, instead of learning fourth, please learn it as the third, because that's what the description that you will see under the line, but when the fourth watch came, then that description, those things actually happened during the third watch. And these are things that I have memorized in the original Pali language, so you don't need to worry that I would have misunderstood about anything. Then the point is that I would like to distribute to you, to each person, 2 lines or 4 lines. But for that, I first need to make sure that you will actually come the next week so that we don't have holes, you know. So if I give someone 2 lines for next week and then you don't come, well, then we will have a hole, right? So then when we recite it, then we will have nobody to recite those 2 lines. So that would not be okay. If you are healthy and if you have all the technical and social and physical possibilities, I wish that that you come if now you say that you will come. So I want to first know whether you will come, and then according to that I would distribute to you those lines. So Almao, do you plan to come next week on your Friday evening?
Yes, Venerable Sir.
Thank you. Langham? Yes. Melanie?
Yes, Venerable Sir. If something does come up, I'll make sure to tell you on.
Okay, thank you. Caitlin? Yes, very good.
Yes, I plan to come.
Thank you. So I myself will take the first 2 lines, and then each of you can take 2 lines or 4 lines. So let me do it in the way schools do it, and that's according to the age or alphabet. But here I would like to do it according to the age. So Almao, can you please tell me how what year and month were you born?
June 2010.
June 2010, okay. Langham?
No, June.
June 2010, okay.
July 2008.
July 2008, okay. Melanie?
September 2008.
So, Langham was which month?
July.
July. So that means Langham is a little older. And Caitlin?
August 2008.
August. Okay, so we have July, August, September, right? That's very nice. So let's assign. So Lenghom, would you like to take 2 lines or 4 lines?
I think I can do 4.
You can do 4. Melanie?
4.
4. And Caitlin?
2.
2. And Almao?
4.
4. Okay, so that means that I also should take 4 so that I'm not behind. So I will take the 4, but the first 4. So I will make the list. So Melanie is taking how many? You can show by
4.
fingers. 4, yes. Yes, Caitlin is taking 2. I see. Caitlin is coming after Lenghom, right? So the picture contains body leaves, and my idea was that you can write down those lines that you memorized on that body leaf. So I'm now sharing with you the lines. If you do not see the lines nicely, you can extend the chat box width. If you can do that, then the lines will show up well. Or on the phone, probably you will have to tilt it so that you see the lines well. Otherwise, they're a little ugly. So my lines are, but when the 4th watch, but I will be reading 3rd watch. But when the 3rd watch came, the secret came of sorrow, which with evil mars the law, as damp and dross hold back the goldsmith's fire. Then was the dukkha satya opened him. Then for Lenghom, first of the noble truths, how sorrow is shadow to life, moving where life doth move, not to be laid aside until one lays living aside with all its changing states. Then Caitlin has birth, growth, decay, love, hatred, pleasure, pain, being and doing, how that none strips off. These sad delight, that's from Melanie, these sad delights and pleasant griefs, who lacks knowledge to know them snares, but he who knows, avidya, delusion, sets those snares, loves life no longer, but ensues escape. And then for Almao, the eyes of such a one are wide, he sees delusion breeds sankhara, tendency, perverse, tendency, energy, vijñān, whereby comes namarupa, local form. This is very deep, and it may be very difficult for you to understand. So I will explain briefly, and then next week I hope to explain even more. So first what I say is, but when the 3rd watch came, so the Buddha is now sitting under the Bodhi tree and he tries to become enlightened. During the 1st watch, he remembers his past lives. During the 2nd watch of the night, just take the night period, and divide it into three equal time periods in your mind, And that's what we mean by watch. So the first watch is the first third of the nighttime. This middle watch is the second third of the nighttime, and the last watch is the last third of the nighttime. Then after the third watch comes dawn. We don't have fourth watch, it doesn't exist. So during this third watch, the Buddha realized the Four Noble Truths. And these verses are explaining to you the Four Noble Truths, but I would say very simply, but with a difficult English. Simply explain Four Noble Truths in very complicated English. All right, so of sorrow. So sorrow is the first of the Four Noble Truths, that there is suffering in the world. So sorrow, which with evil mars the law. So through the defilements, through the ignorance, through not understanding impermanence, through greed, hatred, and ignorance, there is this defilement, and that defilement is a hindrance to following the Dhamma, to following the Buddha's teachings. Dhamma is the law. So the poet is using the word mars here. Let me see what that exactly is. Yes, it defiles, or it makes ugly the law of the world. The law of the world is the fact that if we do good things, we will be happy. If we do bad things, we will suffer. If we follow the Eightfold Noble Path, we can get free from all suffering. And because there is this suffering, there is evil, and because of evil, we do not follow the Eightfold Noble Path. So that's what he means. As damp and dross hold back the goldsmith's fire. So while it is possible for us to follow the Eightfold Noble Path and get free from all of the world, because there is the suffering and we do the evil, we are hindered, we are obstructed, we are delayed on the way. Then was the dukkha satya opened to him. So the word tu is missing here. Probably, maybe he's following some special metrics in poetry that I don't know, but this is how we get it. So then was the dukkha satya opened him. That means at that moment the Buddha realized the truth of suffering. Dukkha is suffering, satya is truth. So this is the first verse. I'm taking that. Then Lenghom is reciting the explanation of what I would be reciting. First of the noble truths, how sorrow is shadow to life, how there is the suffering that always follows with life. Remember, shadow is something that always follows with you. You cannot get rid of shadow in the normal sense. Of course, if you turn off the light, you can, or if you turn on other lights, you can. But this is not what we mean. Here, shadow is the metaphor that something is always following. Something is always following behind. And here, sorrow is shadow to life, means that wherever there is life, there is suffering. Moving where life doth move. Doth means does, D-O-E-S. Wherever life moves, or wherever life does move, their suffering will also move. Doth is an old English word. Not to be laid aside until one lays living aside. Until you lay aside living, that means until you attain Eightfold Noble Path and get free from life, then you will have to suffer the suffering. As you can see, until there is life, there will always follow the suffering, with all its changing states. So until you put aside craving for life, there will be suffering. So that's the meaning for Lenghom. Lenghom, do you understand your lines? Yes. So Caitlin. Is Caitlin still with us? Yes. Birth, growth, decay, love, hatred, pleasure, pain. I think that's quite clear. Being and doing. Being and doing, that is the life, being is life, and doing is doing things in life. But be careful here, being is the desire for being, the desire for existence, and doing here is doing through ignorance, because there is not the understanding of suffering, there is desire for pleasure. As soon as we understand that all pleasure is actually suffering, there will be desire for pleasure. And this is an illusionary pleasure. The pleasure we get from sensual pleasures, from existence, from the views on non-existence, all of these are just illusionary pleasures. In fact, they start, they continue, and they end with suffering. So that's why being is needs to be understood, and doing through the ignorance that I will do something and will achieve eternal happiness, they are all illusionary. How that none strips off. So this is a poetic, this is apparently a poetic way of saying something. At this moment, I'm not exactly sure how do poets use this expression. Any idea, Caitlin? No idea? I think the let's continue what's in the other line. These sad delights and pleasant griefs, who lacks knowledge to know them snares. So the only way it comes to my mind how to explain this little these few words, how that none strips off, probably just means that until there is the wisdom, we will not get rid of them. So we will have to have all of them together. None of them can be taken away. We need to have all of these. So birth, old age, sickness. So birth, growth, decay, but it's growth here means old age, and decay means sickness. So birth, old age, sickness, and then love, hatred, pleasure, pain, and then being, doing. We do not have this kind of list in our scriptures as far as I know, but it's a pretty nice, concise summary of the lists that we have about suffering. So none of these can be removed. All life naturally will have all of these. So you cannot decide, okay, so I will have just birth, and I will have love, pleasure, okay, some pain, being, doing. You cannot do that. All lives naturally will have birth, old age, sickness, love, hatred, pleasure, pain, being, and doing. So I think this could be the meaning of saying how that none strips off. Then, for Melanie, these sad delights and pleasant griefs, who lacks knowledge to know them snares. So the poet is apparently asking, who knows to get rid? Who lacks knowledge to know them snares? Okay. So so now the poet apparently is putting together two different people: those who know how, those who know that these are traps. Snare is a trap. So these are traps. They they seem like delights, like a delight with one's husband or wife, delight with one's car, job, with one's fame, with one's money. So those are actually delights that are in fact sad. So those are traps. The delight is a trap. It seems as if you will be happy with the money, but in fact you're in a trap, because when you get the money, you get the danger with it. You get the stress, you get the worry, you get the anger, you get the greed, and so on that comes with a lot of money. When you get wife or husband, the same. When you get children, and so on. So there comes quite a lot of difficulties, quite a lot of suffering, even though we would say that they are actually delights. The same thing is pleasant griefs. So sometimes we grieve, but in fact we grieve with the idea that this is for something good. So pleasant griefs, we can see good and bad in all of those things we get, but we can never get only the good, even though that's what we want. We don't want good and bad, we want only the good, but we always get the good and bad together. So as we try for the good, in the end, in the beginning and during that and in the end, we always have to suffer. Unfortunately, when you want something pleasurable, you will suffer to get it, then you will suffer and enjoy while you have it, and then you suffer when you lose it. So as you can see, you have 3 sufferings, only 1 pleasure. So it's not fair. And that's where it's a trap, because it seems, oh, this will be pleasurable and that's worth it, but it's not, because it's 1 to 3, it's not fair. Then, so there are some who do not know about these traps, and then there are some others who know about these traps. But he who knows avidya, delusion. Avidya is the Sanskrit word for delusion. So you have the translation there right away. Avidya means delusion. A, not, vidya, knowledge. Avidya means not knowledge or delusion. So avidya or delusion sets those snares. It is because of the ignorance that we do not see the trap in the pleasure, that we seek that pleasure. But all of this is caused by the ignorance. Only if we do not understand that these are traps, we will seek those traps. Then love's life no longer, but ensues escape. So that's the person who knows that the suffering, that these are traps and that they are suffering, that person does not love life any longer. Loves life no longer. So that person who knows these traps, who has discovered and revealed these traps, loves life no longer. And that particular person also ensues escape. Ensues means ensues achieves. You can understand it as achieves. But ensue means to result, to get something. But let's say that here it means achieves. So the person who realized the trap in pleasure loves life no more. Instead, achieves the escape from all suffering. And then we have Almao's 4 lines. So yes, Caitlin, do you understand your 2 lines? Now it seems clear. And Melanie?
I'm a bit confused on like the reading. So when I read avidya, do I read delusion too?
Yes, please.
Okay. I also, why did it so if like the idea of love's life no longer and exceeds escape are related, why did the playwright use instead of and?
But that I can explain, but I'm not sure whether this is his idea. In my understanding, this but could be for people who believe that if you do not love life, then you are pessimist and you are depressed and you suffer. But that's not true. Instead, you have achieved escape, you have achieved freedom. Does it make sense?
Also, why did they describe the delights as sad but the griefs as pleasant?
Yes, probably because all of the delights actually bring with them sadness, and all of the grief brings something pleasant. Probably because rather than that the grief brings something pleasant, it's that the grief follows after what was pleasant. So you enjoy something pleasurable and then you lose it and you grieve. So that's probably the meaning of pleasant griefs.
To re-summarize, did you say that was like 3 kinds of suffering, like the suffering before the pleasure, and then suffering with pleasure, and then suffering after the pleasure?
That is for the sad delights. That is for the sad delights.
Is there like a word for that, or is it just an idea?
This is what the Buddha taught. The Buddha explains, tanhaya jayati soko, tanhaya jayati bhayang, tanhaya vipamuttasya natti soko kuto bhayang. So the Buddha explains, with craving there comes fear, with craving there comes sorrow, with craving there comes fear, with eradicated craving there is no sorrow, and what to speak about fear. So there is fear, there is sorrow. When there is craving, you wish to have something, to experience it, to have it, and therefore there is the sorrow that you need to work hard for it, you need to toil hard. Then you have it, you may not be satisfied with that. Oh, I tried hard and now this pleasure is not enough good. I thought it will be much better. And then when the pleasure is gone, it is yet another suffering where you think, oh, at least some pleasure I had. Now I don't have even that little pleasure. So there is suffering throughout those 3 times. Yes, Buddha speaks about that. But here it is left to us, how do we understand it? That's the magic of poems, that poems can be interpreted in different ways and different people take them away in a different way. Okay, Melanie, any more question about the 4 lines? No, it's clear. Okay, so now for Ao Mao. The eyes of such a one are wide, he sees. So the eyes here is meant for the wisdom vision. So the Buddha who realized the suffering, who realized that there is escape through getting free from the ignorance and understanding impermanence of all pleasures. So that person has seen. Seen here means understood. So the eyes of such a one are wide means the eyes of such a person, the wisdom of such a person is deep. He sees, he understands, and now what comes, these 3 lines, is a beginning of something big. But because we have only you here and we don't have any other students, that's as far as we can get. Otherwise, we would need probably another 10 or 20 students to get this idea full. So you start with these 3 lines, the so-called dependent origination. And this dependent origination is a very important teaching in Buddhism. Dependent origination, also known as paticca samuppada. So dependent origination is the Buddha's teachings on how does suffering start and how does it happen. It clearly describes the mechanics of suffering. And Ao Mao would be reading the start of this mechanics. This is such a deep teaching. There is probably no deeper teaching than dependent origination in all of Buddhism. So we will have to discuss that later. I will again I will go through Ao Mao's lines very briefly. Delusion breeds sankhara, tendency perverse. Tendency perverse. So because there is not understanding of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self, because there is this delusion that there is permanence, satisfactoriness, self, there come about actions. And these actions are called sankhara, or better, abhisankhara, because they make. Sankhara means make things, making things. And here, what kind of things are made? Kamma. So because there is this ignorance, there are actions, and those actions alone are kamma. Why are they kamma? Because they're based on the delusion. If the delusion was gone through enlightenment, then kamma will not happen. So because there is delusion, there is kamma. Kamma means action. Exactly, the word kamma means action. So for example, if you carry bricks, you build a house, that all is called kamma in Pali language. So the word kamma has its deep meaning, but also its everyday use. So it's like the word law. Law has an everyday meaning, and it also has its deep meaning. So kamma, action, can either be some action like you're carrying things or doing some things, or building a house or repairing things or creating things. That's called kamma. But then also you have kamma with the deep meaning, that if you do something while you still are attached to sensual pleasures, existence or non-existence, or while you still have the delusion of permanence, satisfactoriness, or self, then this action will bring about consequence. If the action is done for happiness of me, others, me and others, then it will bring happiness. If it is done for suffering of me, others, me and others, then it will bring suffering in the future. So that's kamma, that is sankhara. So delusion breeds sankhara, tendency perverse. So the tendency perverse explains what is sankhara. So sankhara are actions, but also they are intentions. Already the intention itself, he translates it as tendency. The intention itself, because it's based on delusion, will bring consequences, either pleasant or unpleasant, depending on what kind of tendency is this. Do you intend, here intend is the word, do you intend to harm someone? Do you intend to help someone? Do you intend to cause someone suffering or pleasure? You need to know that. Based on that, you will get result. In all cases, you get result. Why? Because there is the delusion as the base. So delusion breeds sankhara, tendency perverse. Then tendency energy, vijnanam. So here the word that's written here is weird and might be actually not typed correctly. So I will write for you the word how you can read it. Vijnan. Vijnan. And Vijnan would be the Sanskrit form of the Pali word Vijnana. Vijnana. And that is consciousness. But he translates it as tendency energy, which I understand and I think it's not bad at all. So Vijnana is consciousness. And here, in fact, and the author probably doesn't know it because this is a very deep knowledge, and I think this author cannot know it. 150 years ago, the knowledge about Buddhism was not enough deep. So some of the things he's writing is not in accordance with our scriptures. It is apparently according to some Indian folk tradition. You know what's folk? Folk means what people generally culturally believe for a long time, but not written in books and not not taken very seriously. So folk, you have folk tales, fairy tales, folk tales. So you have also folk stories like this. And the author is writing this poem based probably on folk tales, folk stories about the Buddha from India. Buddhism that we study here with me is coming from Sri Lankan commentaries, especially based on commentaries written in Sri Lanka, and so it's a little different. All right, so tendency energy. What vijnana here means is the consciousness of a newborn living being. So if somebody is born, first it starts with consciousness. Consciousness then starts to arise in the womb, in the zygote, in the human to be or being to be, and then as it gradually arises and passes away, the zygote gradually changes into fetus and embryo, and then it is born. So this very first consciousness of the new being, that is what's meant by consciousness in this particular context. So first there is delusion, then there are these actions, and then based on these actions there is new birth. If the karma is not there, then there is no new birth. We cannot eradicate karma. We can eradicate delusion. Without delusion, there is no craving for next life, so there is no birth. But that is a higher level. So here what's explained is that there is delusion, then there are actions caused by delusion, that means karma, and based on those actions or intentions or karma, there is new birth, new life. So this is how we are born again and again and again. So this is the tendency energy, or you need to understand it as a new life, vijnana, or here it is vijnana, whereby comes nama rupa, local form. There is a the next line finishes up the translation of the word nama rupa. I think it would be good if you can learn it so that what you memorize makes sense and is correct. So I will explain why this half or about half of the additional line is so extremely important. So the word nama rupa means, just a moment. The word nama rupa, nama means mind, rupa means the body, mind and the body. And as you can already realize, the author is using Sanskrit words, and then he adds the translation. So you have there these words nama rupa, but right after that follows the translation, and that's why I would like to suggest to you that you learn also the portion of the following line so that the translation is complete. Local form and name, embodiment. So local form means this body, and name, embodiment. Why did he add also embodiment? I don't know. Maybe because he wants to show that body is very important problem in this case. Usually when you meditate, you would start observing something in the body and then you move to the mind. So it doesn't make, so it is not so much surprising to me that he would be speaking about the body 2 times. Hard to tell, but that's what we get. And name, embodiment. So the mind and the body. So after consciousness of the new birth comes the mind and the body. The body then grows gradually into a full-fledged body and the mind. And with that come the 6 senses, and that is coming in the in the following lines that you do not get because we do not have that many students. There are coming six senses, and then there is craving, and then there is another life. So I would like to talk, maybe we will talk about that in the next class. So Aumau, did you understand your 4 lines? You understood? Okay, that's great. So yes, I'm listening.
Do I have to say it as Vijnan or Vijnana?
Vijnan, please.
Okay.
To follow the poem. And regarding the picture, now I would like to share with you the picture, and it would be great if you can ask your parents, or I don't know whether you have color printer, but I would like to suggest that this picture is very good to be printed out. So please try to open the picture, and if you can open it, please raise your Zoom hand.
Where'd you put the picture?
It's in the chat box.
I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it. Melanie, everything okay? If they're funny, smiley. So, Langham, how can we do this? Do you have access to our Viber group?
It's on my mom's phone.
On your mom's phone. So, can you tell me your email address?
Which one?
Any, the one that you read, the one of which emails you read, and I will send you the picture by email. Can you see the chat box? You can see the chat box, and after this my comment and name embodiment, you do not see that I have added a picture in there called Bodhi leaf and outline. You don't see it at all? That is so strange. I will send it to you in a private message to see if that will change as an experiment. It's not allowed to send files through private message, so this experiment will not work. All right, so if you can tell me your email address, then I will send it to you by email. Okay. Okay. So it says that the email is sent. Can you please check your email box to see whether you've received it? It should
Can
be
I
there
check
as
it?
yes.
Can I check the email later?
Yes, please. Later. Okay. Well, hopefully you will have the file there. So thank you, everyone. You can now remove your Zoom hand. So there is this picture, and as you can see, there is a white space in the shape of a bodhi leaf. So I would like to encourage you to write your lines into that white space, so that you have a nice memory for the future. So you do not need, you can write there the 4 lines, and then after you finish the 4 lines, for example, for Melanie. So Melanie would be writing the 4 lines in the bodhi leaf. You do not need to have each line just 1 line, you know, you can split the lines because the leaf has a little bit different shape than rectangle. And then at the bottom, if you can write the light of Asia, comma, Sir Edwin Arnold, right? I think so. That's right, Sir Edwin Arnold. So if you can write it like this, then that would be very nice, so that you know where is the verse coming from. Otherwise, it's not fair towards the author. The author probably doesn't live anymore, you can imagine, but it is good to keep the author and the reference whenever you are quoting something. So for everyone the same. If you have 4 lines, you will either you will need to print this picture on a large paper, let's say, well, at least A4 definitely should be enough for 4 lines, but you will see for yourself. So if you can print that, then I would be very happy if you can then take photo of that and share it with all of us. It would be very nice. All right. So does anyone have any question, or if you have any concerns, any difficulty? For the time being, everything seems good. I'll also try to get it printed out and write down the 4 lines. Let's see if I can do it. I definitely will memorize the 4 lines. And the idea is that we will recite one after another. So I will start reciting. When I finish, then Langham will continue, then Caitlin, then Melanie, then Ao Mao. And so together we will recite a portion of the great poem, The Light of Asia. All right, so it was a pleasure to see you. Today we went a lot over time, but I think this was very much worth it. This is a fantastic poem. And if you ever get enthusiastic mood and feel like you really want to read something very deep about Buddhism, then reading this poem is a very powerful experience. It's very hard though. It's very hard. If you decide to read this poem in full and you want to understand it, just make notes of the lines that you don't understand, and I will explain it all. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Hope to see you next week. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be successful in everything you do.
Thank you, Venerable Sir.
Thank you, Venerable Sir.
Thank you, Venerable Sir.